Hello and welcome to the Gags Tandon Show. Liverpool make it 5 out of 5 in the Premier League, and I'm joined by Lewis today. Lewis, how you doing?
I'm all right now. I'm relieved, I think is the key word here. Didn't have to wait till the last minute, mate, to see something happen. Wasn't a great day overall in terms of performance, but 3 points in a Merseyside derby. We still know who the biggest team on Merseyside is, so happy days.
Exactly, and I also think there's a lot to say actually about maybe the reason for that. We can go into it a little bit because I can see a whole load of really interesting takes out there that people are disappointed in the team. But we'll get there. Let's try and add some perspective to what's been a fantastic start to the season. So yeah, if you're all joining us, we appreciate to like and subscribe if you can. But yeah, I think let's just kick off with Stephen here, who's saying great win for Liverpool. And then storming a teacup early on said phew. Then he said, can't wait till we put teams to bed at 2-0. We need to stop making hard work of these games. And let's get Julio in as well. Another win, but not in style. We better start serving coffee at halftime. The lads don't end up. So yeah, let's get your initial thoughts. And I can give my initial ones, and then we can go into the performance a bit more deeper. Initial thoughts first and foremost. 5 in a row, Lou.
Yeah, 5 in a row, mate. Yeah. The derby has always been one of those matches that it doesn't seem to matter what the circumstance is. Everton will turn up to these games. Sometimes they don't, like 5-2 back in 2019, 2013, 14. There's Everton have always been that side that they can make hard work out of nothing. And like, go back to 2003 and we were relying on Danny Murphy to score late winners and Harry Kewell to score wonder goals. It's always been one of those games that's very up in the air. And while this wasn't a routine performance, so to speak, it's a derby. It's 3 points at Anfield. It's a team that were very dogged. We're very committed to at least giving us problems. And it's 5 wins in a row, like you say. At the end of the day, you get to the end of the season. If you've gone a whole season picking up these wins, you'll view it as a positive thing as long as the end result is something that you're aiming for, like winning the league. It may not be the ideal performance, but we're picking up points at a time where we're playing 6 out of 10 football, 7 out of 10 football, if that. So as a whole, positive outcome, but it's not the performance that we wanted. And that's something which we will need to address going forward.
Yeah, I think Ahmed saying, I'm not sure I can take 38 games of this, but a perfect start to the season. To be honest, I've taken 40 years of this. Liverpool have not been great for all 40 years that I've been supporting them. So I will take every single 3 points. Some of you may be much younger and just started supporting Liverpool recently or something, but let me tell you something. Winning 5 games in a row is not for everyone. Winning 6 games in a row, including the Champions League at the start of a season, is not for everyone, especially when a team isn't even clicking. You should enjoy these minutes. You should enjoy these moments rather than complain and moan and bitch about it. Because let me tell you something. We also just played Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, 12:30. That's 3 games in 6 days. For a team where we know Wirtz cannot play 90 minutes yet in the Premier League because he's from Bundesliga. Yep. We know Hugo can't play 90 minutes yet because he's from Bundesliga. We don't have a fit Maka. We do not have a fit Isaac. So you're telling me that this is not acceptable? You can get the F out because you do not have reality in your not.
You go back to 2010, mate. We were crying for these problems.
People need a reality check. We're not ready, but we're still winning. Enjoy it. Stop moaning. Get behind them. And let me just tell you one other thing. If you don't think some of them are still reeling from what's happened in the summer, then you just don't know. I know you're watching, inside training. You're thinking they're all over it. They won't be. There'll still be folks in there that'll be mentioning shots. So this is a heavy time. It's always going to be. It doesn't take a month to get over things. It takes months and months to get over things, and this is an emotional team and an emotional club. Let me tell you something. Enjoy it. This has been a fantastic start to the season. I will take any 3 points as long as it's 3 points. And to be on a weekend where Chelsea playing United, I know we can't really expect a favour from United, and Man City are playing Arsenal. Just getting the 3 points was what was important, Lewis.
Yeah, mate, exactly. The big problem we had in the past is whenever these big teams, City or whoever it is ahead of us, were dropping points, we were doing the exact same thing. You've got to capitalise on these mistakes. Someone between City and Arsenal is going to drop points this weekend. We've got to be there to capitalise on that drop point margin. A big problem we've had in the past, like you perfectly said, Liverpool have gone through tumultuous times when it comes to like eras in the past where we were really poor. The Graham Souness era, going into the Roy era in 2010. Like there's so many different timelines where you can look at Liverpool. We're poor. What a problem we've got where we've got Isak on the bench, Wirtz on the bench, Ekitike starting for us, and we're scraping matches, but we're still winning. And people have said this isn't what champions do. Champions don't win these matches that often. Champions don't leave 5 games in a row where they win last minute. They don't, but that's what Liverpool do. In the Premier League era, Liverpool have won 47 matches with goals later than the 89th minute. The next highest team is 33. I think that's Tottenham, if I'm not mistaken. Liverpool have made a habit of this because it's ingrained in our DNA. If you go over the past 6-7 years, you can think of like 20 examples. It's who we are, and it's not sustainable, and it's not something ideal that we want to be seeing week after week after week. But we're doing it, and we're going through this period of time not playing our best football with, like you say, McAllister not fully fit, Isak not fully fit, Wirtz isn't quite there yet. And we're still picking up points against Newcastle at St. James's Park, Arsenal at Anfield, Burnley, who've just been promoted and were one of the best defensive teams across Europe last season, Atletico Madrid, Everton in a Merseyside derby. There is so...
Bournemouth and no mugs?
Bournemouth, exactly. Bournemouth are no pushovers, mate. Exactly. And this is the thing. People need a bit of perspective of, you can say the performance is poor. Absolutely. This is not a standard performance. The other matches haven't been, bar maybe 1 or 2. But at the end of the day, look at Chelsea back in 2004. 11 matches they won at 1-0 margins and scraped through. So many matches where they weren't playing great football, but they won. And at the end of the day, people remember the outcome. People remember winning the league. They don't go back and go, we were poor there. We were poor there. We were poor in about 10 of our matches last season, but we still picked up wins. That's all that matters at the end of the day. And I'm fine living in this reality where we're not playing great football, but still beating our title rivals and our Merseyside rivals. That's fine with me.
And we deserved it. Like, we deserved to win today. They weren't that good. They made 0.6 XGs. We made about a 1 XG. So, it was, we were ahead on the quality of chances. And literally, we didn't create after we scored a couple, I think. Let's kick it off with, right at the start, there's one player this season who's having an absolutely tremendous start to the season. There's 2 of them. There's Dom, but there's Grav as well. And I think both of them have been linchpins of this great start for us. Dom has come up trumps in games, and now Grav as well coming up trump in multiple games. Today, though, that first half, he was immense. I know he tired a little bit second half, but first half, he was immense, mate.
Mate, just there was no midfielder better on the half turn than Ryan Gravenberch. Finding that space in between the lines, someone who can come from deep but attacks in such a meaningful way. Where how many times have we seen deep lying midfielders try and bomb forward and to no end result? When Gravenberch does it, it's so calculated. What he can do, his passing range is superb, and his physicality as well. Like today, he won 6 of his 9 ground duels. He's such a physical player who, when he's running at the box, people don't know how to handle him. Do they try and get stuck in on him because you're probably going to lose? Do you let someone else take him on? Do you create space for them to work with? What a player he's been. And that finish, there was someone who was saying it was like Ronaldo's over Mignolet when we played Real Madrid. Spot on. That's how quality of a finish that is when you're comparing it to a finish by Cristiano Ronaldo. He's been superb, mate. And it's the give and go of him and Szoboszlai, the way they operate in that double pivot. But if one of them goes forward, the other will drop back. The way he complements, like for that Ekitike goal, all 3 midfielders linked up. And Gravenberch was the starting point of it all. And he's such a key player to this system, starting 40 of the last 42 games. He's superb. And there was the fact that if you go back to a year ago, or a year before even, when we were trying to buy Zubimendi and we were thinking he's going to be the number 6. Imagine that, where we signed Zubimendi, and I think Gravenberch's gone this summer. What a timeline it's been where he's become our out-and-out number 6 performing like this, mate. He's been unbelievable, the turnaround.
Today was, the first half especially, was insane. Like, was just the first, the Ekitike goal. No. Grav opened the scoring, right?
Grav,
Grav opened the scoring, and the Mo pass into him, another Mo assist today. The Mo pass into, like you said, the finish, if it's being compared to, someone like Cristiano, is in his locker. He showed this at Ajax. You know, I know people thought he was a bit of a failure because of his time at Bayern, but this is a star boy. You know, this is a proper star boy. I saw a clip earlier this week where there's a whole youth setup in Ajax, and they're all saying who's the one player that's the best ever that's come through the youth team, and how many of them shouted out Gravenberch in that, like from the Dutch, you know, the Dutch youngsters. He's showing that quality now for us, and I think the ball carrying, the turns he has, even the way he picks the ball up and can press players. Sometimes he gets done on the press, but on the most times he's been fantastic in terms of picking that loose ball up and running with it and finding a great pass. And his passes are getting a little bit better. That's the area where he needs to improve: the passing, the distribution, the kind of horizontal balls through, you know, try the vertical pass, shall I say, through the lines, between the lines. He's got to get better there. But the off ball running today, immense. But yeah, I'm just so pleased for him, and he deserves all the plaudits he's getting. If I'm honest, and I just hope he gets a rest now and he doesn't play Southampton and he gets to rest for the rest of the week, because we're gonna need him again for the next few games. On top of that, then let's go straight to Ekitike's goal. Grav involved again. When we're talking about Grav, he gets an assist in the same game, and this time, like you said, he's involved, but he's the end point this time. It's actually Dom and Mac with the nice little intricate passing in between flicks and stuff, play it into Grav, and now he's showing he's got this in his locker as well, that he can play those balls through. So when we were just saying he needs to get better with the vertical pass, there it is. He puts it in. And let's talk about Hugo next, mate. What are your thoughts on this boy's start to the season?
Oh, man, what is it now? 4 goals and 6, 4 goals and 7. If you include Crystal Palace,
3 and 5. If you don't, yes,
3 and 5 in the Prem. Mate, he's brilliant. And there was so many people when Ekitike was being linked saying, well, you know, he's a bit young, he's not the developed product. We want Isak, and we got Isak. But he's got that sort of, if that was Nunez, for example, and I don't want to rag on Nunez too much, but I feel like when that ball got put into him, he would have just hit it first time. The composure that Ekitike has on the ball in close quarter proximity to other players to take a touch and then finish is brilliant, and he plays ahead of his years. He's a very physical player. I thought his hold-up play today was superb at points, the way he was able to hold the ball up for Salah to run into. The finish itself is top quality, and I feel like he's someone that a lot of people look at and think he's just a big lump of an attacker who you can stick in the box, put the ball to his head. He's very quick, and he's very good on the turn as well to play off the last shoulder of defenders. Very composed, and like you said, Gravenberch's creativity to find that space, that isn't something that's spare of the moment. Oh, let's find him. That's been worked on. The way Ekitike was holding his position, the way he was able to run in between the defenders. What a striker to have. And there's a lot of people saying like he wouldn't have come to us if Isak was being linked to the club and all this stuff was going on. It's not true, because I think he is someone who genuinely thrives off that competition. He is someone who enjoys having that rivalry there to push him further. And he said that after the post-match interview. He was like, look, I want to share the picture of him. I'm happy to be in competition with him, so to speak. I love his mentality. I love the way he fits into his team. I love that he's selfless in the sense that he'll drift off out wide onto the left if he needs to, do a momentary swap with Gakpo. And today, you know, went off quite at a decent time, I thought, for Isak. But up until that point, I thought he was outstanding. And maybe it's a bit biased, but that finish alone was a composure up top that we've sorely lacked at points over the past few seasons, with Nunez and with Jota being injured and obviously not in the squad now. So it's brilliant to see that he's able to slot right in the way he has.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Hugo's been a breath of fresh air. Brings this calmness up top and able to hold the ball in the first half, especially second half. I think you could see he was getting tired. The Premier League, and especially Merseyside derbies, helter-skelter. It's going to be a mad rush everywhere, and it's the first time you're playing in that. So I could sense he was getting tired because he started to give the ball away a lot more. But just before he came off, the 10 minutes before that, he was giving it away a lot. So you could see that, you sense that there was some tiredness there, and maybe Gakpo wasn't helping either. We need to talk about him in a minute. But I think with Hugo, like you said, the finish was beautiful. Some kind of reminded me a little bit of Torres again. He seems to have those runs that Torres used to make in the channel, and then finish them in the corners. It just there's a lot of Torres about him, and I think there's a lot of other players too. But he's settled really well, which is nice, and it also takes pressure off of Isaac, if I'm honest, because Isaac knows he can take his time to get into the team and get some appearances, because he knows the goals are still coming in the squad, in the team, and we're still winning games. So I think they'll be fine. I think, if I'm honest, I want to ask you, and maybe even the anyone who's watching, do you think we should move Ekitike left? Because I'm really worried about Cody. Cody has not started the season very well for me. In fact, in that first 30 minutes, which were fantastic, he was the weak link. We could have made it even worse for Everton had he just had the composure to play proper passes. Even in the second half, he missed a one-on-one that Hugo was in. Like literally early in the half, before it was 2-1, Gakpo just missed a pass. That was Hugo in 1-1. What are your thoughts on Cody right now? I'm really struggling. I'm frustrated by him, should I say?
No, that's the spot on the word. It's just frustrating because we know how good of a player Gakpo is. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've seen it for Netherlands, and we saw it for us last season. He's a big player, and he's very integral to the way Slot wants to play. But the issue is, there's moments where I look at Gakpo and just think, you're not confident in yourself, where I just think, beat someone, have a go, try and get past them, stick to the byline, try and go round them, as opposed to constantly cutting inside and just trying to find someone else. Because last season, he did it effectively. When he cut inside, he could find Szoboszlai if he needed to, he could find Salah, he could find whoever it was in the middle. It just feels like whenever he goes in, he just runs into danger, and his pass always just ends up going to whoever the left back is, because he's got an over option. The Ekitike thing is a good question, because I think the main issue people have had is, how can we get Ekitike and Isak in the same team? My problem with it is, if you move Ekitike out wide, you're hampering him, because I think he's so good in the middle. Like, there was someone asking for the stats earlier on, and he won 6 of his 9 ground duels today. All 4 of his dribble attempts were successful. I just think moving him when he's performing so well in the middle is a problem. Gakpo's not playing great, but I don't know if this should be at the detriment of Ekitike, that he gets pushed out there. As much as he can do it, I just think he's better in the middle. Gakpo's not... It's just strange. I don't know if it's because there's no Diaz for competition. I don't know if it's just because it's the way Slot wants him to play. I don't know if it's because it's a new left back he's working with in Kirkes and it's a different style. I really haven't got an answer, because we know what Gakpo can do. It just needs addressing sooner rather than later, because he can't continue in this vein. If we're playing a City who are, the way they are at the moment, or we play an Arsenal team at the Emirates, or any of these sides, we can't have passengers. And at the minute, it just feels like Gakpo, bar the Bournemouth game, has been a passenger.
I mean, there's already shouts for Rio to start with his Palace, and Hugo against Chelsea and United. I mean, I don't know about that. I think it'll be too early for Rio. I think Rio in midweek is a good shout, to be honest. Give him as many minutes as he can get, 60 minutes or so, 70 minutes if he can. But I think from my point of view, then is it Wirtz? Is it Wirtz that gets the left roll quick as Dom? Today, when the first 30 minutes with the midfield 3 that we had, I guess it's smart from Slot, because you go with what you know in a derby. You go with the battle. I think Maka, the first half especially, was looking good. He was getting into those tackles. I think it was second half when Maka really dropped, off a proper cliff. Like, you can tell he's not fit and giving the ball away like Hugo, but worse than Hugo. I think Maka actually turned into the worst player on the pitch second half, even worse than Gakpo. But having that settled midfield 3 in those big games, because you knew Everton going to be a challenge. It's a derby. Like, people are thinking that we beat Everton 1-0 last year, folks, when we were smashing teams. We were doing real, like, we drew with them away, did we? I think, yeah. Was it 2-2?
Yeah, 2-2. Tarkovsky with that screamer.
At the end of the day, it's not ever an easy game. Even when we were like winning the league or winning the Champions League, we used to have Origi scoring 97th minute winners against them.
Yeah.
Like, it's never. There are some games where we blam them, but not always. It's not always
few and far between. Like,
exactly. So I think people expecting this to be just a cakewalk. I don't know. I think maybe fans just get a bit carried away with winning 5 in a row, 6 in a row. I think every game's going to be tough. Every game's going to be really hard for us. We're just going to have to keep edging them. But that's what champions do. And I think maybe he gives Wirtz a bit of time on that left instead. I know it came on. It was tough. I think it was tough to come on in this game and do something. I think Wirtz and Isaac coming on just didn't have that energy or weren't in the flow of that game ready to. Plus, I don't think any of our players were in the mood to play the ball out properly. Did you? The second half, we just didn't. We couldn't pass the ball out for love or no money. Like, we just couldn't. And that's where their goal came from. Grealish versus Bradley, I guess, is the next thing that we should talk about.
Yeah, there's a worry. I was shocked Bradley started today, in all honesty. I thought Frimpong, after that Atletico game, I thought he'd warranted pretty much getting the minutes today, especially because Bradley came on for him. So I thought, oh yeah, guaranteed nailed on. And I made the argument in the...
I think it's because he's just come back from injury, mate. That's why he's not going to get 2
Yeah, I get that. This is the problem we've got, is even when Frimpong's coming back from injury, he's looking better than Bradley is coming back from injury. And Bradley, for this game, I like the intensity he's got. I like the fact that he wants to get stuck into a tackle. He wants to win. That's brilliant. But against Grealish today, we needed someone who can keep up with him, because Bradley was just getting beat for pace. He was getting beat physically. He couldn't keep up with Jack Grealish. You know what I mean? Whereas I think Frimpong offers you that extra leg, like that extra level of pace to him. His recovery is brilliant. His positioning's brilliant. Bradley just feels like, right, if I don't win the first tackle, we're exposed. So he just goes straight in, tries to win it as quick as possible, and it showed today. And it showed against Atletico as well. He was very out of position at points and didn't look like he knew what to do. It's not a worry, because like you said, they're both coming back from injury. Rotations to be expected. But it's concerning the drop-off we've seen from Bradley so far by comparison to last season, where there were calls for him to start over Trent, people saying he should have been the starting right back, people saying this season he could have been the starting right back. He faded. That was the problem. The whole team faded as soon as we got 2-0 up, I think. And that's been a consistent theme this season. We sort of step off a bit. We think, right, we can sit back and just offer a wall in front of the goalkeeper. We can't play that way. Doesn't matter if Van Dijk's there, Konate's there, what have you. We just can't keep a solid defensive structure, bar Arsenal this season. Every other match, we just look weak when we just decide to let them have possession and we'll just sit back and defend. We're not that team capable of doing it. And Bradley today was very symbolic of that at points. Yeah. And yeah, it showcased a lot in that second half.
I agree with T. I think Bradley was good in the first half against him. He didn't really give him much, but that was, like you said, when we got up to 2-0, it was okay. And, I think the good thing of choosing Bradley over Frimpong is Bradley does like that bite. And I think he does get that crowd going in a derby. That's exactly what we need at home. But I agree. Second half, he really dropped off. And then when there was not the 2 versus 1 help that, he needed at times, he was either getting gone round, or it was Grealish cutting back in and then being able to put the ball in the back post. The big problem for us in this game seemed the back post every time. Thankfully, Curtis defended fantastically for a few of them.
Brilliant, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But there was that time, that the one where he didn't is the one where they scored, because I think he fell over in the middle, didn't he, at the bottom, and then Maka was just too slow to get to Trezeguet, I think, and that was it.
Yeah.
Put it in. So it was a great finish, mind. I would expect Ali usually to save those, but it was just too powerful. But yeah, I think that was the key battle, the Grealish versus Bradley one. In the end, you can say we won. So it wasn't so bad, but it was nerve-wracking, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. As soon as they started putting balls into the box, and Fiona Barry as well, we saw Van Dijk struggle last season against Beto. So as soon as Barry came on, we were like, oh my God, this is going to be harder than we thought. Like, Van Dijk can struggle at points against a very physical forward who can give him as good as he gets. When Grealish is there, Dewsbury Hall was putting in some great balls as well. You've got O'Brien coming in at the back post. There was great delivery from them. And if not for the composure of Alisson, who I want to give Alisson special mention, because given how much Everton were crowding the box at points, given the physical powerhouses they had in midfield, Alisson's ability to punch the ball out and win the first ball in the air, it's second to none across world football. He's so composed and he dominates his own box, and having him there was a major, major plus for us. Kirkes at the back post, considering O'Brien is the size he is by comparison. There was that late ball that he won that went out for a corner. A lot of players did their jobs today defensively. That's the big bonus you can say is as much as we were conceding chances, as much as the ball was coming in, similar to Atletico, everyone knew their role. Everyone knew what they needed to do. And we did a good job of containing that. The goal itself stemmed from individual errors. System-wise, though, it worked. As soon as Dewsbury Hall and Grealish put the ball in, there was Van Dijk, Canate were there to clear it, and you had Kerkaz on the back post, who you should, let's be honest, shouldn't be against O'Brien, but he did his job well. So I can't have too many complaints about it.
No, I thought on the whole, Everton played really well. Second, the last 60 minutes or so. There were bits and pieces where we had corners, but they've got a decent midfield in there. Dewsbury Hall, and then that Garner did pretty well, I thought, today at times as well. So Moyes is doing a good job. Fair play. It'd be good to have two strong teams in Liverpool, I guess. But as long as Liverpool the strongest, that's the main thing. We want teams like Everton to take points away from Arsenal and the cities and stuff if they can do it. So yeah, I mean, if they can improve and as long as they keep losing it to us, we don't care. But we need good teams in the league to take points off other teams. As long as we can keep beating them, it's fine. So it's good to see David Moyes do a good job. And by the way, David Moyes still hasn't won at Anfield. A beautiful stat that continues to live on, and yeah, that's just a fantastic one for how long he's been in the management. To not win at Liverpool is mad. So yeah, I hope that continues for a long time. But yeah, whenever he turns up, I'm always like, oh my god, I hope that this isn't the day that record breaks, because these things happen. They do. Records are there to be broken. Yeah. So no, hopefully David Moyes never ever wins at Anfield, which would be lovely. But Dominic Szoboszlai overall, I think again, first half, very good. Some poor corners today, but overall, I think in that 10 spot showed why we won the league last year and showed why we were so comfortable that first 40 odd minutes.
Yeah, definitely. Dominic Szoboszlai, when Wirtz was coming in, the big conversation was him and Wirtz are going to rotate. Szoboszlai is probably going to be pushed onto the bench. Maybe he'll get pushed further back. There's something about him this season where no matter where he's playing, he just adapts, whether at right back, whether he's the deepest in the midfield pivot, whether he's number 10. His work rate is off the chart. And we're seeing more of that Szoboszlai that we saw when he initially came in. And he had that good few month spell where he was full of energy. He was willing to have a go at goal. Defensively, he was solid. It's just his composure, and the link up between him and Gravenberch is so important to the way that we want to play. And like I said before, if Gravenberch goes forward, Szoboszlai's got that intelligence now to just stay back, whereas previously it felt like he always wanted to be on the front foot. He always wanted to be attacking. He didn't have that defensive mindset as such. He'd rely on others around him to do it. He's been brilliant this season. Gravenberch's probably been, it's a bit of a stretch. Gravenberch's probably been our best player so far this season. Szoboszlai is definitely a contender. So, but he's been brilliant in pretty much every match he's played.
I think it might be some recency bias if we did go for Grav, because I think the start of the season, Dom was playing right back. He was going. He's played everywhere to really get us through some real rough games, man. With the Newcastle
James Milner style role.
Yeah,
put him somewhere and he'll do the job.
I think there's just a different air about him since he scored that goal against Arsenal. There's just a big, even in the fan base, I think fans need that thing where, like, for example, with Fabinho when he scored against United. I think that was they needed Fabinho they needed something to get on his side and then carry with it. And after that, it was just, I think that's what's happened with Dom now. He's not got a song, nothing. I think he was one of the only players who probably didn't get a song sang about him at the end of the season. I don't think they sang anything. But because his name's so hard to make a song on.
I know, what are you making with that?
Exactly. So I think, though, he's gone up a notch. Start of the season, then scoring that free kick. I think he's just gone up a notch this year, and we needed it because Mac has not been available or himself at all. So, hey, this team hasn't clicked at all yet. Like the first half an hour was incredible. So yeah, I'm just really chuffed with how we're going. People want to talk about VVD here in the chat, so let's read this out from you. Van Dijk should also be mentioned in this. Always reliable, showing Tarkowski the door. In that minor tussle, always set the mood. And then we've got from Joseph. VVD looks like he's playing a different sport. That's how good he is. Oh, and another one. He really had a touch on Wednesday where he just plucked it out of the sky near the corner flag. Yeah, I mean, your thoughts on Verge right now?
Mate, how long have we got? I mean, I wasn't around during the days of Alan Hansen, of course. I'm a young, sprightly lad. But I feel like this is how people must have felt, where you sort of become numb to his greatness. And every performance you look at him, you just think, yeah, that's, it's average, because, every game he's just putting out unbelievable quality performances. So to us, his amazing standout matches are just pretty average, because we've seen how good he is. He isn't appreciated, I don't think. A lot of people make the joke of, well, he's not, he wouldn't have been able to defend against players of old, against your Drogbas and your Rooneys. Van Dijk is the best all-round centre-back in Premier League history. John Terry is, you could say he's the best defensively. You had Ferdinand, you had Jaap Stam, Sol Campbell. The way Van Dijk conducts himself, composed on the ball, aerially, there's no one better. He's great in a tackle. He's great at coordinating a back line. He's just unbelievable. And there's leaders who lead by example, and there's leaders that are vocal. Like Gerrard's been described as being someone who he led by how good he was. Other players would lead by being how vocal they are. They can vocalize what they want. Van Dijk's both. You constantly see him coordinating that back line. You constantly see him getting stuck in. He scores late winning goals in cup finals and Champions League matches. He's a defensive genius, and it doesn't get appreciation for how top quality he is. And today, it wasn't a performance where you look at him and go, you're standout, you're man of the match. But he did his job, and he did his job effectively and brilliantly. And that's what we want. That's what we didn't have for so long. It was like you'd have Martin Skirtle, who was bang average, but he'd have one brilliant match and people would go, yep, that's it. Main centre-back sorted, and then he'd dip. Van Dijk doesn't have those amazing standout performances, because every game is at that high level, with the occasional 1 in 25 where he dips ever so slightly. So there's not enough superlatives to describe how brilliant of a centre-back he is, and how he makes everyone around him feel like the best players in the league.
I totally agree. I think him, even Ibu played really well. I'm desperate for Ibu to try and agree a new deal as well. I think they just you can see in these type of games, it needed some kind of a mistake or something for us to concede, or a really great finish. Because by the way, that's not an easy finish from where it was, and it was top right in the stanchion type top corner past Ali. It has to be a good finish to beat us. Otherwise, what did they create? They created nothing. These two centre backs they sniffed everything out, as well as Grav, And like we mentioned Kirkes earlier, I thought he had a really, really good game. A lot of people were like, oh, why isn't Robbo playing? Kirkes hasn't been good. But I think we can rotate here. I think Kirkes has been pretty solid since the Arsenal game, to be honest. I know he had a bit of a ropey start at the start of the season, but he was, it was new to him. He was just settling in. It's a big club to come and play at, It's not an easy thing to do. So, but in this last couple of games when he's played, and we have an embarrassment of riches at the moment that we can, if Kirkes is getting booked. By the way, he was fine against Burnley, I thought. It's just that he got booked, that he came off. It wasn't that he was having a bad game. Just that he dived.
Yeah.
It was just that he dived. So Robbo ended up playing, a game and a half or a game and a bit more. So we've kind of had a fresh Kirkes to come in here and do really well. So yeah, I don't have a problem with him at all. I don't have a problem with any of the back line today. And I think he has even said, that leads me to believe that Arne's not great right in this. Several players not at full fitness. So what do you do after so many games, dragging onto the bitter end, demanding all the energy? Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's been the problem. We've been going to the 100th minute in one game to win it. So this time we'd won it early on, and we just had to hold on. And I think actually this is the good lesson for the team, Lewis, because we got to hold on and win. Whereas in the last three at the opening games, 3 of them we've gone 2-2 after being 2-0 up, and that was the big worry. At least this time they didn't give up the 2-goal lead. Totally, they gave up 1. So they carried on, they held on, and they didn't have to bring on Endo either to hold on, which was an interesting one, because normally it's Endo that comes on and has to do something for us. But yeah, we ended up holding on and winning. So there's a good lesson there for the team and how to do it and I thought the shithousery of time wasting at the end was fucking awesome, by the way. I just loved it. They literally time wasted so much on every free kick, on every corner, and like the free kicks around that area. Everton must have been pissed, but Everton would be doing exactly the same thing. And in fact, when they were drawing in the past, Dino Arms has done that,
Yep.
So
Mate, look, yeah. It's a derby. I want that shithousery in a derby. I want that in this match. I want people to crunch into each other. I want people holding up the ball and winding each other up. That's what this match is. I want to see that level of it's a match that calls out for it. And like you said, I think it's absolutely, you're spot on with what you're saying in the sense of this wasn't a match where we had to come back into it. We just had to hold on. And that's the way we need our mentality to shift. The first few matches has been not that we're underdogs, because we're not. We've spent big money with the champions, blah, blah, blah. But we've got to fight back and show that grit and determination. We need to change the mentality into, okay, we're leading here. You've got to come at us. And we saw that against Arsenal for a little bit. We saw that against Burnley. Not Burnley. Burnley was awful. Like Atletico Madrid. And we can't seem to hold on to it at the minute. That's got to change, because as champions, it's our responsibility to lay the marker for this season and to get statement wins, big moments, and to grind out these matches. We can't constantly be going 89th minute, we need a goal desperately, because guess what? That's not going to happen every match. Defensively as a unit, we're still a little bit weak, but that will come with time. And slowly we are getting to that stage. This was a big, big win, not just in terms of result, but in terms of the way we got that result. And there are concerns, of course, but for a team that have gone through what we did with Jota, a team who, let's not forget, as much as we won the league in our first season, this is our new manager's second campaign. He's still going through a lot of change, a lot of rotation in the squad, a lot of signings, a lot of departures. Like, big players have left this team this summer. It's a big change. So as much as people will sit here and say, well, it's not a great performance, I'm not asked. 3 points against Everton just to reaffirm that the team that hasn't won a trophy since 1995 are not the biggest side on Merseyside is fine by me, mate. I will absolutely take that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that. We're not great in defense. I just think we just give away silly goals is more than that. I think if you look at, there was a post by Sean Rogers from Tor, the Anfield Wrap, that is, and I read it yesterday. I thought it was fantastic. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. But he went through all of the points and all of the XGs, and he went a bit into depth of what we're conceding and where. And to be honest, we aren't really conceding that many high-end chances or big chances in the last 2 or 3 games. Like, we've improved a lot since the earlier first two let's say, like since Arsenal onwards, let's say. It's actually been quite solid. They've been looking really, really solid in defense. And this today, it should have been a clean sheet. It's one silly goal, a great finish as well. At the end of the day, it wasn't like it was a tap-in or we got undone or unlocked like really crazily. It was just one of those things where big cross goes in. Oh, it's dropped someone's way in the box. Macca's not got to it. And those things happen. And it's pretty much on the edge of the box where he's hit it from, or at least inside, maybe on the side. It's a great shot. So I don't think the XG of that chance was very big. I'm just going to double check it for a sec. The goal, yeah, it's got a 0.16. It's not. It's not.
It's so typical that we concede that as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you concede a 0.16 goal. Normally, you're like, damn, that's not so good. It's like a pretty good shot. Anything under like 0. Like around that range and below is going to be a good finish. But at the end of the day, I think that the defense is getting better every game. And you look at the Atletico goals, I don't even think the first one should count, right? Because of the player impeding. The second one's a major deflection and a worldie, or he's trying to score a worldie from outside the box. Sometimes you can't do anything about those.
Are you worried a little bit about the fact that we do sort of take our foot off the gas when we do go 2-0 up, so to speak? Like, is there a concern in your head about that?
I think it's been happening for a long time. I think we used to do that last year. I think since Klopp left, Slot has embedded that we conserve energy anything above 2-0. I really think it's been happening since last year. I remember shouts last year when everybody used to say, oh, we're 2-0 up and we just, we've kind of locked the game up and we're not doing much anymore. And I thought there were shouts for it last year too, but obviously last year we just weren't getting caught with the with the goals here and there.
Mm.
But there were times where we did get caught with some goals last year.
Definitely.
So I think let's see how the rest of the season goes. Let's see how it's early doors with a new team. It can be that the stuff I said at the start of the show, where some of that fitness isn't perfect, some of the positions in the team aren't perfect, some of those things aren't, going in our favor just yet. So we do drop off a little. But if you ask me, if you win 6 out of 6, something's going right as well, for sure. Like it's not a fluke. People say, how long can you sustain winning? It's momentum of football. It's crazy. It's the confidence that comes from it. Momentum doesn't exist, obviously, in that way, but it's more confidence of the team that just grows and grows and grows. Win after win after win. You get used to it. You want it. You drive for it. So, complacency is what people are saying. I'm not sure that they're complacent. I think it's more that they have a massively long season ahead of them, and I do think the manager is trying to be smart in trying to conserve. Now, as long as we win, I don't really care. I'm honest with you. I would love a 5-0. I would, I'm dreaming of a 5-6-0 somewhere in the Premier League. But hey, if the 3 points happen, and we've got some really tough away games coming up. I think Palace and Chelsea are 2 tough away games for us now in the Premier League. So there's a chance where those can be draws. They could. I mean, a realist could say they could. We drew to Palace twice in a row. We drew 90 minutes in the Community Shield. They beat us on penalties. And then we drew at the end of last season as well to them 2-2, or was it 1-1? It was 1-1. But
1-1,
yeah. So I think Palace and Glasgow are a tough team to play against, especially at home. So let's see how it goes there. They really, everybody seems to be up for it against us all the time, every single time. So we're champions. It always used to be the case. You play Liverpool, it's a big game. But it was so imperative to get the 3 points is what I'm trying to say here, Lou. I think we needed it against when those 2 games are coming. It would be lovely if Arsenal City drew. It would be even better if Arsenal lost, because at this moment in time, I hate them. But I guess that would give City a bit of a boost in terms of getting on a run, maybe a draw, and then both dropping points. And if we can snatch a win at Palace next week, would really be good before we get to Chelsea. So let's see what happens. But, any other thoughts? Have I missed talking about anything in the game? Have we covered everything? What have I missed?
I mean, the only player I want to touch on a little bit, Salah, because for the first 20, 25 minutes, he seemed like he was right up for it. He had that great chance that missed the goal just by marginally. Obviously got the assist, but are you looking at him and convinced that he's sort of what do you think the reason is for his dips? Because I think he struggles a bit when Bradley's behind him a little bit in terms of having an outlet. Bradley will push forward.
Yeah.
Like we saw a lot in that first half, Bradley would go ahead of him. He gave him an outlet. But when Bradley sort of dropped back to try and contain Grealish, Salah felt so isolated, even with Szoboszlai around him and others. So are you worried at all about Salah's performances, or do you think that this is just going to be a temporary blip and he will get over it?
No, I'm not worried at all. I think there's a few things with Mo. The first one is I actually thought he looked worse when Dom was right back. I don't think they're used to playing that relationship. The other one's better when Dom's coming in towards him and playing with him up top. But Dom being behind him, I don't think that relationship was there. I actually think he's better when Frimpong and Bradley are playing with him. So that first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it was fantastic. I think what dropped off after that was the whole team dropped off. It wasn't a Mo thing. I think it was an everyone thing, should I say? So I don't think it's just Mo. I think we're probably not getting the ball to him very well either in parts. But that first 20, 30 minutes did feel like the Mo of last year. He blammed one just over the bar. He created the goal for the first. I think as long as he keeps getting the goal involvements in games, I can't really complain. I think he does need a Dom at 10 more than a Wirtz at 10, I think, sometimes, just because they can cover for him when players are going back. But I think Grav was doing a good job and Dom was doing a good job today with Grealish, and stayed back. But I'm not concerned actually. I think he got some goals and got an assist against in midweek. Did he get a goal and assist midweek as well? Yeah, he did. He's the fastest one in the Champions League in the first 6 minutes, like for us. And then he's got another assist this week. So and then he's won the game for us the week before. So that's 4 goal involvements in 3 games. I'm not concerned. I think he's the biggest, one of the biggest, or at least the most visible sufferer of grief as well for us. So I know people hate me to say that or hate hearing that, but if you haven't lost a best mate or you haven't lost a loved one that's close, these things take time to get over. And I think he's one of the ones that, it can take that 1% edge off you. It can, if it's still in the back of your head, or if the fans are singing at 20-minute mark, stuff like that. It does do it to you. So I think Mo will be fine in the long run. It's going to be the season where we miss him for a month and a half. But what's really nice, what's going to happen is that we've got Ekatike and Isaac and Wirtz. So in January, we could see some really 2 up top kind of games coming up, where there's 2 strikers playing up top, or we could actually hammer teams. It could go, like it could go mental. So I'm not actually too worried. I think we've got plenty up top once Isaac's fit. I think we're going to see a demon, a real demon in the team. And I think the Premier League needs to beware and be very, very much on guard that this is not even a team that's clicking yet. And they've got 6 wins in a row. What the hell is going to happen when they go for it? When they're really on it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
Mate, we're not in the eras anymore of Sean Dundee being our backup to Michael Owen or Karl-Heinz Riedel. We're not in a time where it's Balotelli or Ricky Lambert. Like, we've got a smorgasbord of options up front. I can't wait to see it click. It's going to take time because they're all very different players, and it's a system that doesn't produce free-flowing football on a regularly consistent basis like we saw with Klopp. It's a lot more composed, a lot slower. But when it clicks, mate, it's going to be ridiculous. And we're in a lot of games. I want us to win at least a trophy this season. Not bothered. I just want silverware. We have to warrant the expenditure we've just done. And with the players we've got, the options we've got, I'm looking forward to seeing who starts against Southampton. There's no reason we can't do that. And when Salah gets back up to, hopefully like to the top level like we're used from him, when Isak embeds himself in, when Gakpo figures out how to play football again, we're going to be unstoppable up top, mate, and I can't wait for it.
When Gakpo figures out how to play football again, I'm not sure that's going to happen this season. I really do think we need to buy a left winger in the January window. I'm already counting the minutes towards that. Unless Wirtz starts playing there, I just feel like he's really frustrating the hell out of me. He's got to be the worst player on the pitch at times, apart from when Maka had that blip in the second half. But yeah, just not impressed with Gakpo right now. Really hope he might need to give him some time against Southampton to get some confidence going, blam some goals in maybe. I don't know, but something's got to happen. And I do wonder what happens with the coaching of that, where you see a player do that again and again and again. Yes, he's going to score 1 out of 50 of those, but is it worth? Like at one point in Discord, we started a count of how many times is he going to ignore Kirkes overlapping him. Like literally we started, and then he passed to him, and guess what? That was the first time this season he passed to him on the overlap. We're like 4 or 5 games in, and
wasted energy, man.
Have you seen Kirkes screaming at times? Why are you giving it to me? Like you could hear him scream. It must be so frustrating playing with him. He's got so much ability. He cuts in so well. He attracts so many players. I keep saying it every show. I'm not going to get tired of saying it. Find a pass. You've got 3 players in front of you. Dink it. Don't shoot. They're there to block you. They're going to block you. Like, obviously, you're not going to find a goal through their legs. Like every time, it's so brainless, at times. And yeah, I just wonder what this coaching team are telling him and asking him to do there. I'm sure they're not telling him to do that again and again. I'm sure, it just can't be. It just can't be the case.
I don't know, because the thing is, you look at Salah on the opposite side. I mean, he's much more creative, don't get me wrong, and he's willing to pass to the overlapping fullback, be it Bradley or Frimpong. But you look how often he cuts inside to try and find space in the middle or find players who are running into the box. Gakpo tries the exact same thing. He's just not good at it. He's not good at finding a pass. He's not good at picking someone out. It's always, rather than crossing the ball in, trying to find like an inverting runner or a winger or a fullback who's going around him, it will always go back to the midfielder who's deepest. It will always go back to Gravenberch or Szoboszlai, who then passes it to the other side. And lo and behold, Salah creates something from nothing. He's doing the exact same thing. He just can't do it to the level that everyone else is. He's not good at doing it.
No, I completely agree. It's a shocker, really. Let's see what happens. Hopefully he turns it around, Lou. But yeah, that's everything from me. This was a great show. Thanks a lot, Lou. Appreciate you jumping on and helping me out. Liverpool have beaten Everton 2-1 and gone clear at the top of the Premier League for now. I think, let me just have a look with the scores going on so far. They are 6 points clear of Arsenal. Wouldn't it be nice if they stayed 6 points clear? Because if Man City beat them, Man City would be 6 points behind us as well. So having 6 points in both of those at this stage of the season would be just the chef's kiss that we've been looking for. So I think T is saying great job, lads, as well. Thank you very much, T. What would your team be for Southampton before we go? Quickly.
Oh, okay. Mamardashvili in goal.
Yes.
Right back, probably. I want to say Frimpong, but yeah, probably Bradley. Let's just put Bradley. Why not?
He wants to go Bradley again.
I'm just panicking now. Mamardashvili, we'll go Bradley. You know, give Sky a bit more finish. Giovanni Leone, can't wait to see his debut.
Yeah,
probably Gomez next to him. Left back, we'll probably see Robbo. Midfield will be Endo, Jones, maybe Wirtz as well. I know it sounds a bit daft, but I think he could do with a game where he could sort of.
Do you not think Leone will get a start?
He might be on the bench. I don't know if he'll get a start per se. I think Wirtz needs a game where he can just play an opposition that he can run rings around. I know Southampton aren't pushovers, but
no.
He needs a confidence builder. He needs that match where he can really assert himself and sort of get going, get a bit of momentum. So that'll probably be the one for him. And then front line, Isak maybe, but Jayden Danns would be a good shout through the middle just to get him a bit of game time. Right wing will probably be Chiesa, and then left wing probably Ingamoa. It's going to be like massive rotation. I don't think Slot's going to play.
No, I totally agree with that. Apart from maybe I think he gives Isak, another 45 in the first team to start, and then gets Danns on second half. Really,
yeah.
Get him to just get that game time up every week, and then sub bench again next week against Crystal Palace. Come on again. So it's just bringing those minutes up. I think he needs 60 minutes every week, and I think the Champions League and the Carabao Cup games might be brilliant for Isak right now to get those in, and then we need to pick the points up because again, Champions League, you can drop points in the Champions League early on. It doesn't matter. We saw last year we won all those games. We got bloody PSG in the end. It means nothing.
Yeah, really they finished 16th or something like that. So
yeah, exactly. So as long as you finish in the top 8, I guess that's all you need to to do in the Champions League. So win your home games, win a couple of away games. You're pretty much going to be in there. If you win 6 out of 8, you're going to be in it. So I think what I would do if I was manager, I would go for the whole team that you have, but have Isak and Danns maybe switch at halftime, so that Isak, or maybe 60-minute mark, give Isak as many minutes as possible because he's not gonna get in the first team if he doesn't play.
No,
it's not. So he's got to play somewhere, and then I'd do the same for Galatasaray. Against Galatasaray, give Isak the time again the week after, so he doesn't play on the Saturday, and it's a Tuesday turnaround for this one, so it's really close again. So yeah, and then Wirtz can play there too as well. So you might be. I like what you're thinking because I think Wirtz and Isak might start playing the midweekers, and then go really strong in the next 2 Premier League games with last year's midfield. Just because they're 2 away games, they're solid games. We need to be on top of it with Wirtz. With Maka, Graven, Dom, or Curtis. Like they can switch it, but either way, I think it's a sound tactic. So let's see what he does. It'll be exciting if Isak and Wirtz are playing Wednesday. Everyone's watching. Everyone is like glued to that screen for sure. Yeah. What did you think of Helios' point here that Chiesa's not even on the bench today?
Look, there's not enough room on the bench for everyone. We've got a lot of players now in this squad. I just feel bad for Chiesa because he had the chance to leave this summer. He had the opportunity. He said he wants to get in the Italian national team ahead of the World Cup. He wants game time. And then the links were he's going. We're going to sell him. He's going to move on, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He scores that one goal against Bournemouth, gets told, no, you can't be dropped. We need you for this season. He's not even in the Champions League squad for the group. He's not going to play in the knockout games, let's be honest. He's not even on the bench in the Premier League matches, so he's restricted to cup games. I just feel bad for him. And I'm not saying it in a sense of, the team's the most important thing by a mile, but I don't think Chiesa's done much wrong in a Liverpool shirt. He's not had great performances, but he scored in the cup final against Newcastle. He scored against Bournemouth earlier this season. He had a few good games last campaign as well, Champions League and cup matches. So it must be frustrating. And if he doesn't get in that Italian national team because he's been rejected from our first team as a whole, I think it's been a poor career move from him to end up staying with us this season, unless
he might get a move in Jan.
Yeah,
I think he might just get the move in Jan, Lou. I think that's what's going to happen if he continues to not get game time, even though he loves it here and he loves the fans. And the fans have even stopped singing his name. He's not even on the bench, so they don't even sing the name now. They sing the song now. So, yeah, I think the song will bellow out on Wednesday, and it'll be a great atmosphere with that song. I think everyone's coming to sing that song, especially now. But I think you're right. I think we need to get a proper left winger in, and if it means Chiesa has to move on in Jan on a loan deal, even for us to bring someone, I think we should do it because the manager clearly does not trust him. We all seem to love him. We all want him to do well. Unfortunately, I don't think the manager agrees with that viewpoint, or at least doesn't rate him enough to even put him on the bench over Rio, which is a shocker. Really, real shocker. So choosing Rio, who's also had a good impact in games already. But we'll see what happens. There's lots of interesting things going on at Liverpool. The most interesting thing is that we're 6 out of 6 so far this season. We're hoping to make it 7 on Wednesday. If they can go 8 going into that Chelsea game, wow, it would be something exciting. So let's hope for a real good week. Lou, you've been fantastic. Thanks for joining me again.
Thank you very
hope
much.
to have you back very, very soon. And the rest of you, try and enjoy your weekend now. You've won. You're top of the league. No matter what happens, no one's catching you. No one's catching you. Right? Feet up, chill out, laugh at everyone else all weekend. Watch all those crying, hating videos. And please do like, subscribe, and join us on Anfield Index for everything that we do too. We really appreciate you. Have a great weekend, folks. Up.